Okay. Good afternoon, dear participants. Am I audible?
Good
Yes,
afternoon.
ma'am.
Yes, you are doing.
Good. Okay, I welcome all the participants in this online session of Capacity Building Program. I'm Dr. Anjum Ahmed, Assistant Professor from Department of Education. So I'm here to just brief you up regarding the academic leadership. And before I do that, I'll be just giving a brief introduction about my qualification and my teaching and my administrative experience in my department. So I have a background of MSc in Environmental Sciences and MA in Urdu, MA in English, along with my PhD in Education Psychology. And I have authored two books regarding the pedagogy of especially during the pandemic times, different pedagogical techniques during a pandemic time, and peace education. So I teach quite diverse subjects in my department. It is related to gender diversity and society. I teach environmental education and educational psychology, and in few undergraduate students courses, I'm teaching administrative also, education administration. So when I came to know about this academic leadership, I was like, this is a good platform in which I'll be interacting for a few minutes regarding this, and we'll be having a very renowned speaker who will be talking about the academic leadership with her vast experience. So because we are also training prospective teachers, so this is where I find that even when we talk about how and how it is to be a good teacher, so being a good teacher will definitely require a lot of good leadership skills. So somewhere in our path of our you can say in academic promotions, probably right now we are at just only teaching the students here, but somewhere or the other in future we will be getting opportunities in which we have to lead. We have to be adopt a leadership role, and probably as an academic leader, our one prominent role is how we are leading the students to success, or we are leading the students to develop different skills and knowledge, and ultimately, of course, in their future careers, and providing them the opportunities. So when it comes to academic leadership, of course, NEP has talked a lot about it. I'll just be highlighting a few important details regarding that. But before that, I think you will also agree that when it comes to academic leadership, when a faculty member of any rank is given any responsibility to lead the students towards success and to lead that entire team. So definitely the first thing that should come in our mind is that we should also be in contact with our students on a regular basis. So being a leader does not mean that you take away the time off from your classes. So at least you have to have I think the prerequisite would be that you should be taking one class or more than multiple classes in your particular department. Or if you're engaged in as a resource person, you're going and you're invited to different departments, I think you should avail that opportunity, because the more you interact with different students of different department, you will be basically, you will be formulating that niche of yours in which you'll be getting in contact with different students. Another thing about academic leadership is that when you are getting engaged in developing the curriculum also. So that means you're developing curriculum for different programs or individual courses, or the courses that you're specially teaching in the particular department. So time to time, you're making those minor changes, and the major change, if there is a major change, then you're passing it in through the BOS, and you are implementing it into your department. Because the more dynamic your curriculum is, and I think that dynamism will only stem out that if we are trying to balance between employability and the academia. So we have to be engaged on a regular basis in developing curriculum. Then comes, of course, I think and for the academic leadership, the another important thing is writing a detailed lesson plans. And because I come from an education background, so we are very into lesson plan, how to formulate lesson plan. And we train our prospective teachers that when you're framing a lesson plan, it should be satisfying the individual needs. It should be satisfying the educational needs of every student. And plus, of course, catering to the wider learning styles of the students. So once you're in, you have that kind of a control over your class. You know that how you're supposed to plan your class, and every time you're planning for a new session, for a new class, you're coming well prepared. You're coming with all the details, lesson plans chalked out. So I think for leadership, for adopting an academic leadership role, we have to come prepared first. Having that whole plan of the pre-planned and the preparing time is, I think, is a very important aspect of it. Then regularly we have to also conduct research. We can say we can also conduct some kind of an action research on day-to-day basis. Any problem that you feel in your vicinity, in your in classroom, in your department, or in the wider community, the university campus, we can administer these different action researches, and we can find the problems towards these the erupting problems that are coming in the students group, or in the teachers, faculty members group, or even in the non-teaching group. So in this way, we can find that leadership, of course, not only it entails that you have to have good communication skills, good problem solving attitude, and critical thinking. These are the very common attributes that we know that they're supposed to be in our leadership. And other than that, of course, with that whole threshold, that patience level is also very important, because you will be dealing with unruly students, you will be dealing with all kinds of faculty members and non-teaching staff. So once you start thinking about adopting a leadership role, the first thing that you should first, I think, the thing that you have to hone the skill is how to be patient at the time of crisis, and then communicate in a very soft tone, soft but assertive tone. And of course, with that communication, your verbal communication, your non-verbal, your written and your listening skills and feedback comes along with it. So because once you're involved in that academic leadership role, the another important potent quality or trait, you can say, is being very flexible. Because there you have to have with that emotional intelligence of yours, and when you're dealing with the larger audience, the larger masses, because you have to understand them, so that empathy level should also be there, and that flexibility to change according to the changing circumstances. So with those background traits, if you don't have it right now, it's high time that we develop, when we are, especially when we started our academic journey as an assistant professor, then we'll be soon be promoted to associate and professor. So that is the high time that we start honing those skills right from the assistant professors. And we interact with, of course, our professors will be our mentors. They will, that mentor-mentee relationship should be there in the departments. So only with that kind of a role models, if we have in our lives, we'll be easily able to imbibe those leadership qualities, and then of course persuade towards this particular thing. Because for some of us, we find leadership is in a very uncharted territory, and so you find very, like, you're very more comfortable in your classroom setting, that comfort zone. So anytime you're given any task to lead a team, or if your head of the department gives you any assignment that is outside that comfort zone, so of course, I mean, that really puts us in that spotlight, and we are really scared how we are able to perform in that particular spotlight. So of course, and academic leadership, of course, and if I say that, if you look at the media, if you look at the newspapers, there are a lot of news that are coming because of the unrest position in the universities. So I think this is a very good topic that we are talking right now, about how we are supposed to be honing this academic leadership skills, and what NEP especially has talked in that a lot about leadership. It has talked about governance, it has talked about entrepreneurship and innovation, and especially in the whole higher education ecosystem. And with this backdrop, that how NEP has talked about innovation, and they have made many changes in the higher education. One of the change of innovation and entrepreneurship is the multiple entry exit point. We have also seen that, and we are experiencing that, because that is actually helping us to foster exploration. It is helping us, for the students to take that risk-taking ability, because that is also important tenet in leadership, because you have to have that risk-taking ability as well. And lastly, I would just say regarding the LEAP Foundation, the LEAP, the Ministry of India has chalked out the Leadership for Academicians program. It's a 3-week program, and in which you have 2 weeks of domestic academic exposure, then you have 1 week at an international exposure or foreign training. And for that, the objective of that particular lead program is, of course, that we have to create academic leadership or academic heads. And for that, the prerequisite is that you should have 8 years of that academic designation as a professor of the professor grade, or your age should be below 55, and you should have at least 30 publication in Scopus or any UGC referred journal that is being prescribed at a national level, and then 3 years of experience in the administrative positions. So if you have all that right now, so I think this is the best time that you can go on, and then you can avail the opportunity of leap, and you can sign it for, and of course they'll be shortlisting it, and they will be calling you for this attaining this training program. So this is the background that I'm giving you. So in a short while, I'll be sharing you a video of a resource person who's the director of UGC HRDC as well, Dr. Faiza Basi ma'am, and she will be talking to you in detail about the academic leadership and all the tenets that goes with it. And after this, then we can have a discussion also, and we'll be ending it. I think the session will be ending by 3:15. So we will be interacting at this moment. So at this junction, if you have anything to say, and if there is any comment from your side, I would really like to take in that comment so that I can start the video in a little while. Anybody who wants to share something regarding the academic leadership? Okay, so I think it's 2 o'clock, and we already have a video in line for you. So I'll be just sharing you the screen. Just let me know if it is visible to you or not. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'm starting the video on center. This is a pre-recorded video on academic leadership and education management.
Ma'am, video sound is not audible.
जी आवाज आ रही है आपको? Is it audible?
आपका आवाज तो आ रही है लेकिन वीडियो का आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
अच्छा वीडियो की नहीं आ रही आवाज. ओके ओके जस्ट वेट.
हाँ, ठीक है.
teaching effectively. My name is Dr. Faiza Basi, and I am the co-project coordinator of this project, under which these courses are being brought to you under the online mode. The Center for Academic Leadership and Education Management. It's a center that was established by the then Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is now renamed as the Ministry of Education. In 2015, at the UGC HRD Center, under a very ambitious scheme of the ministry, which is called Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. As part of this scheme, a lot of teaching learning centers, a lot of centers for science education, and Center for Academic Leadership and Education Management were established across various universities and colleges and standalone institutions like the IITs, the ICERs, in institutes of science education and research, and the IIMs. We are fortunate that here at the Aligarh Muslim University, this Center for Academic Leadership and Education Management was established in 2015 under a grant of the scheme named as Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. And since then, this center has been very actively involved in bringing to the doorsteps of higher education teachers various training programs on various themes. I very humbly here put on record that so far more than 6,000 university college teachers like you have benefited from the training programs in this scheme. And so far, we have made partner institutions across the country in more than 60 higher education institutions. Mostly, these are minority managed degree colleges and minority managed institutions, but we are open to all higher education institutions. I also work here at the Aligarh Muslim University as the Assistant Director of the UGC Human Resource Development Center, which again is governed by the Ministry of Education ultimately, and the main mandate of these centers across the country is in-service teacher training towards their professional development, towards their becoming better teachers, towards their gaining some linkages between their academics, research, and the society, which we call as societal linkages, and towards keeping them abreast with the best, latest, and the new developments in the area of teaching and research in higher education. These UGC HRDCs were earlier known as the UGC Academic Staff Colleges. So far in the country, there are 66 such academic staff colleges, and they are functioning actively in conducting orientation programs, refresher courses, subject refresher courses, and interdisciplinary refresher courses, as well as the newly introduced faculty induction programs. And lakhs of teachers since 1987 have been benefited by these programs that are conducted by the academic staff colleges. The Academic Staff College was rechristened as the UGC Human Resource Development Center in 2015. And since then, we have been extending our mandate to all HR professionals in the higher education sector, which includes education managers, which includes academic administrators, and which includes executive training also. So this course is being brought to you under this backdrop, and it was important that today, when one of your last lectures in these 6 days courses that you have been attending, they come to an end, you also get a feel of where we began, how you became a part of this journey, and how from here we take it forward. So the big question of quality in higher education institutions of the country is that, will India ever have a world-class university? As you all know, we are one of the largest higher education sectors of the world. We are spending a very large chunk of our national budget on higher education. Higher education in India is largely public funded, and hence it comes with a great cost to the public exchequer. We have the largest gross enrollment ratio. But still, there is a dilemma about quality in the higher education institutions of the country. We are still very far behind the mark of a world-class university. When it comes to universities in the West, we know that in the United States, there are some universities that come under something called the Ivy League institutions. The Harvard University, the Princeton University, the Yale University in Connecticut. And I don't know what happens to be the coincidence, but these are all universities on the East Coast in the United States. In the West, we have such universities like the Oxford and the Cambridge. In other Asian countries like Singapore, we have the National Singapore University. In China, we have several universities. Even in the Gulf countries, there are some universities like the King Abdulaziz University, which rank higher than the Indian universities when it comes to ranking by very reputed global ranking agencies. These global ranking agencies might happen to be either the QS, the Quarterly-Simmons ranking of the world universities, the Times Higher Education ranking that is conducted by the THE in UK. There is another ranking agency named as the US Global News Report. They do come to India to rank our universities, but they have never ever found any one of our universities to figure amongst the top 100. So here we are, a country that has 1,000 universities. But here we are, a country that doesn't have a single university in the top 100 universities of the world. Let us look at the top 200 universities of the world. Again, a lot of Asian countries like Japan, Singapore, China, they have entries in the top 200 universities of the world. But the one and only institution, if you allow me to cite the Times Higher Education data, then the one and only institution of India that has ever been ranked in the top 200 global universities of the world, then it is the Indian Institution of Science in Bangalore, which is famous as the IISC, and sometimes it does enter the top 200 institution slab of the Times Higher Education. Once it figured at 197, but the very next year it slipped down to 210 or 215. We have figures and facts and data pertaining to the fact that here in India, in the area of quality, a lot needs to be done. But thankfully, the government, the policymakers, and the public sector is taking this challenge very seriously. We are thinking very hard on what to do and what not to do in order to bring our universities in the top 200, in the top 100, and one day maybe amongst the Ivy League institutions. Because as you know, knowledge has been and is the bedrock of the Indian civilization. We are a country of Nalanda. We are a country of Takshashila. We have been a country of medieval madrasa education system. We didn't rise from being tribal societies and tribal communities to becoming these civilized people. We are a country of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and knowledge collation, knowledge sharing, innovation, research, philosophy has always been our forte. Then what went wrong and why? Today, we are facing this challenge of not having a single world-class university, and what we need to do to bring, if not all, then a few Indian universities in the top 100 or top 200 world universities. As you know, the new education policy has put enough focus and emphasis and stress on improvement of quality in education, of interdisciplinarity, of transdisciplinarity, of having standalone institutions develop into multidisciplinary universities and institutions. And this is something good that will infuse quality in our higher education institutions. However, quality happens to be a very complicated mandate. Quality is not just a task. Quality is a wholehearted commitment, professional commitment, personal commitment, public commitment. Today, I have this opportunity of discussing with you some quality parameters, and I will do that in the backdrop of two world-class universities that I have visited and learned at as part of India's commitment to having a world-class university. So this introduction of world-class universities is towards a very ambitious project again of the Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission for Teachers and Teaching, called LEAP, LEAP, which stands for Leadership for Academicians Program. As is very clearly evident by the name itself, this program was meant for preparing a two-tier leadership group in the Indian universities and colleges, prepared to take on the challenges of coming in the top management and hence taking the universities of the country to the top 100 or the top 200 world university ranking. As you can see, this is a picture of some Indian professors attending the LEAP training program at the Ohio State University in the United States. Now, as we all know, the Ohio State University is a state university of the United States, and it is one of the top 100 world institutions of higher education. Now, under the LEAP program, the mandatory qualification for entry as trainees was for any higher education teacher to be a professor for the past 8 years. That means to have an experience of 8 years, to be under the age of 58, and to have had 30 publications in Scopus or UGC journals, and to be having at least 3 years of administrative experience in various capacities, say for example, university security, university residential character management, examinations, admissions, etc., etc. So under this program, applications were invited from teachers across the country, and the criteria for admission was very, very strict. Only those teachers were given a seat in this extremely prestigious LEAP program who met all these 4 qualifications that I have recently enumerated. Now, the design of this program was also very interesting and, to the best of my knowledge, unprecedented. Why? As part of the LEAP program, a participant, and they were participants just like you are enrolled for a training program under CALM. Similarly, these were also participants enrolled under the training program called LEAP, which was done by the CALM AMU. And similar LEAP programs were given to many other universities in the country. The Jamia Millia Islamia had one. The National Institute of Education Planning and Administration, which is called NIPA, which was earlier NUPA, in New Delhi also had one. The various ICERs and IITs, say for example, the IIT Kanpur, the IIT Kharagpur, they had these LEAP programs. So did the Aligarh Muslim University have the responsibility of conducting not one, but 2 LEAP programs. Now, in every LEAP program, the mandatory design was this, that the participants had to be a part of a batch of 30 LEAP trainees. The maximum number of seats were just 30. 15 days of that training was supposed to be conducted in a top-ranking university of India. And in this case, it was the host institution itself. Participants from several universities went to the IIT, went to ICER, went to JNU, went to Jamia Millia Islamia, came here at the Aligarh Muslim University, spent 15 days and attended this LEAP program. Further on, and that was the most interesting part of this program, further on, the training of the last 1 week was called the foreign leg. And in this training, all the participants were taken to a top ranking foreign university, and it was left to the host institution to decide where to take the participants. Some went to the National Singapore University, some went to the Virginia University, some went to the Oxford, some went to the Harvard. We, in our first training in the year 2019, had the chance to visit the Ohio State University in the United States, and in the second round of LEAP, we had a chance to visit the Monash University, that is in Melbourne, Australia. And both these universities, they met the primary criteria of being a top ranking higher education institution in the world, figuring in the 1 to 100 top world universities. That was one criteria which had to be met in LEAP. Now, as part of these training programs, when our participants and when we as coordinators, we had the opportunity to go to a top ranking institution, to live there, to be a part of the academic program there, to have a window to their performance, to their day-to-day working style. It brought for us a storehouse of knowledge, information, and new ideas, because both these universities, as I mentioned, the Ohio State University in the United States, as well as the Monash University in Melbourne, Australia, are top-ranking world universities. We struck an MOU with them, a collaboration with them, and paid their fees, and happened to get an opportunity to be there for 1 full week and learn about their operations, learn about their management, learn about their leadership, and hence try to deduce what we can do with our universities, what we can do about the higher education sector of our country to take it forward and to make it one of the top 100 universities of the world, to give it an entry point in the top 100 universities of the world. Now, when we talk about a quality higher education institution, there are a lot of conjectures and there are a lot of suggestions about what exactly makes a top 100 university. What an institution is doing and what it is not doing is equally important. The question is, if funds, a large amount of money, huge sanctions, endowments, and grants are enough, then in India, any private university which is taking a very hefty fees from its students would have become a top 100 university. So funds alone are not enough. If the fact was that freedom to the faculty, like that witnessed in the public institutions, is good enough, then any of our historic old universities would have been a part of the top 100 universities because faculty have full freedom. If the case was employability alone, that a large number of students passing out from the institutions would have been a quality indicator, then any of the IITs, any of the IIMs, which are churning out degree holders one after another, would have very quickly and very easily made it to the top 100. Not to say that there is a lack of quality in the IITs and the IIMs. With full respect, they are one of the best. But when it comes to touching that top 100 mark, what goes wrong? What remains wanting? Where do we lack? Because quality is not a selective mandate. Quality is actually a subjective mandate. There is no single parameter or single magic step for quality. There are several parameters and they exist in the subdomains of each parameter, and hence quality becomes an idea that exists in a hypervolume of multi-dimensional functioning. Neither we can say that a large amounts of funds are enough, nor we can say that having lots of employable graduates is enough, nor we can say that giving full freedom to the faculty is enough. But we have to look at several levels of quality parameters. And mind you, as time goes by, new parameters are added to it. As you would very well appreciate has happened in the time of the coronavirus pandemic. We are all sitting face to face in an online mode only because this is a mode that has been brought to us with such force because of the coronavirus pandemic that no matter how much it was stressed upon by the policymakers, by the governance agencies before the pandemic, that we should switch to online, that we should include in the blended learning mode more and more activities which are technologically adept and which include e-classroom and e-reading material. We had Swayam platform, we had so many MOOCs, but we do admit and we do understand that all this was not given so much importance by the academic community 1 year ago. And it is only after the pandemic hit that social distancing measures had to be observed, that we are taking technology so seriously. So we will now elucidate several quality measures, and these I will do in 6 areas, which are all equally important for enhancing quality in higher education institutions. First is top management commitment to ethical governance and community values. I will show you pictures from both these two universities, which are very, very representative of how a university or a college or an educational institution functions as a community and not just as a professional body. Second is self-improvement. That means improvement in the personality of the faculty and the staff and the students by giving value to originality and integrity. Third is technology and innovation in delivery, as I have just pointed out, because we are meeting online. We have changed ourselves. We have risen to the occasion. Fourth is the importance of green learning spaces and campus sustainability, which is again very important for education to be delivered and for a kind of environmental responsibility that rests with all the higher education institutions, because they are sitting over some amount of land and they are sitting over some amount of natural resources. Of course, as I have been pointing out right from the beginning, when we took up this discussion on quality higher education institutions, funds are important. By no means I mean to imply that within themselves funds are the only thing, but they are a very important constituent of quality parameters. So having a business plan and having a very effective financial management for the stability and for the governance is extremely important. And finally, something in which many times our Indian universities lack is diversity, inclusivity, and equity. We have been focusing quite a lot on accessibility, but in order to make our institutions more and more accessible to all strata of the society, we also have to make them as diverse as possible and as inclusive as possible, trying to make them a microcosm of the society. What I'm going to do next here in this lecture is one by one, we will take up each of these parameters and I will try to explain them with the help of an example that I happen to notice at one of these two top 100 universities of the world, where I had the opportunity to get some training. First is top management commitment to ethical governance and community values. What you can see behind me right now is some people sitting around tables in very comfortable chairs, having coffee, working on their laptops. And you can't see this here, but they also have, those of them who are lounging on the sofas also have large television screen in front of them. And on days, they have events like a football match, a soccer match. And the students, the teachers, the faculty members, even the top management, they all come on a single platform. They sit there and they watch the football match. They have coffee together because they have spaces like this. What is here in front of you is the Union Building. It's called the Union Building of the Ohio State University, which is managed by the Students' Union. I know a lot of universities, including AMU, we have a Students' Union building in a hall, but the impact of this building or the impact of this hall in the social life of the campus is very limited. Why? Because the top management is not committed to building a community around these union halls. So this is a very fine example of how the entire academic community, be it the students, the faculty, the administrative staff, they can all come together on a single platform. Why? Because the institution has ethical governance, because ethically sound practices are in place in the management of the institution, because there is transparency and hence there is an equal platform to hobnob. And I am not showing you so many pictures, but this is a building where there is a room for the alumni. The alumni have donated to this room and they keep having events. There is a room for ball, and on weekends and on Saturdays, they keep having these events where students and teachers come together over some social occasion. And the idea is to develop a feeling of community, to have a sense of belonging, and then to end up finally with a total aura of well-being. And this is not just the only place at the entire university that is there. It's dotted with many, many others. The oval lawns where they can just sit under trees and they can hobnob, they can socialize, they can interact. And these interactions are basically very energizing, very reinvigorating, and very, very effective in giving new ideas and in building new relationships. I will give you an example from the Cambridge University. Cambridge had a mathematics department where great mathematicians like Hardy and Littlewood and later Srinivas Ramanujan from India went to work. And then Cambridge had a biology department. Now, one day, a biologist met Hardy, that is a mathematician, over a match of cricket because together they played cricket. And this biologist discussed with him that a very old geneticist named Gregor John Mendel is posthumously being lambasted by other biologists for a theory which was called the law of independent assortment. He was being lambasted for wrong results. And he was no more. He had passed away. Mendel was dead when his theory was about to be rejected, so he can't even defend it. When Hardy heard about this, he came with a law that is till date taught in genetics, population genetics, and evolutionary biology as the Hardy-Weinberg law. Now, if Cambridge was not a university where professors from different disciplines had the opportunity to meet in grounds where cricket was played, then this world wouldn't have had the Hardy-Weinberg law, which is a very important basic graduate level law, which it is taught at the graduate level to students. This law wouldn't have been there. Many genetic problems would have been in a conundrum because a geneticist, a biologist, wouldn't have met a mathematician in a free-flowing of ideas domain, which happened to be a cricket field. So this kind of commitment of the top management towards developing a community, towards forging positive collaborative relationships between faculty, students, and staff is very important towards having a quality higher education institution. We all know Cambridge often figures as the #1 university of the world. These top 5 figures, top 5 places in the top 100 universities of the world, they are being interchanged time and again between Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, Princeton, Yale. Why? Because one of the things, not just this thing, because one of the things that they do is that the top management is very, very committed to ethical governance and community values. Next quality parameter, very important because it is related to the self. Personality, originality, and integrity in faculty. Why I'm saying faculty is because if it is there in the faculty, then it will percolate to the students and then it will percolate to the ground level support staff. We began with top management. They are just about 10% of faculty in any institution. But the major pushing arm for academic growth, for professional development, and for good performance of any higher education institution is faculty. And unless we have faculty that is working upon self-improvement every moment, unless we have faculty that does not lack originality, and unless we have faculty that does not compromise on integrity, the main working arm of the university will be shoddy, will be perforated, and will be weak, an arm that will not take the institution anywhere. How do we maintain integrity? There is something called academic integrity. I'm sure you all know. In academics, growth means publish. There is a very famous aphorism, publish or perish. Publish or perish. If you do not continuously publish, it will be as good as getting decayed, getting rotten, getting degraded, because our job as teachers is, of course, to teach, but our job is also to produce good amount of research and to make good amount of publications. Now, when we are making these publications, it is essential that our publications are sound in academic integrity, that we don't get preyed upon by predatory journals, that we make publications only in good quality journals. And these days it is very, very easy to get hold of a good quality journal. The internet is here at your doorstep, at the flick of your the button of your computer and laptop. You know what are good journals in your subject, in your area, that are listed by Scopus. You know what are the good journals in an Indian language. If you happen to be an expert in an Indian language, if you are writing in Hindi, Tamil, Gujarati, Sanskrit, Urdu, then you very well know you have the list of UGC CARE journals. All you need to do is you go to the website of UGC CARE journals. If the journal is listed in impanel there, fine, good enough, you can publish there. If not, please stay away. Please stay away. On the internet, in your email ID, often and on, you will be coming across various emails of so-called journals asking you to send their papers. Then they will ask you for some money, and then next month they will publish your paper. Please stay away. These may be predatory journals. Please stay away from plagiarism. There is an entire gamut of information that exists on plagiarism. If you are referring to some other text, you have to give the proper citation. If not, please do not ever project it as your own work. It is a matter of great disgrace for a faculty member or for a researcher. Personality, very important. What I'm showing you in front of, in my back, is this staircase that is a part of a building in the Ohio State University. And after every 2 steps, an ennobling value of self-development of the personality is written. Leadership, involvement, creativity, friendship, service, tradition, diversity. These are the things a university stands for. And these are the ideals that should be held very dear by every faculty member, and there may be many, many more. In India, when we work in public universities, often we come across cases of students who are not financially very well off. In that case, we need to have a very important ennobling attribute in our personality, and that is empathy. So, personal development is a task, it is a goal, it is an objective that we have to pursue every waking moment. And that's how we become such faculty which contributes to its institution becoming a world-class institution. Third is technology and innovation in delivery. See, the world is changing like never before every single day. In these times, these changes are very, very pronounced. There are times when changes are not very well pronounced. They are happening slowly. They are happening gradually. They can't be realized in one lifetime. For 30,000 years, there was no change in agriculture. But in the past 200 years, we have seen so much change in agriculture. Agriculture is no longer subsistence agriculture. Agriculture is today industrial chemical agriculture. So there are times when changes are pronounced. There are times when changes are very fast-paced. There are times when changes are not very pronounced and not very fast-paced. But we are headed towards change every moment. Every passing moment, we are moving towards some kind of change in the world, and that is why change is the only constant. So faculty, which depends on what its past generations of faculty did alone, I'm not saying that the golden traditions should be shed, but what I'm saying is that while being very soundly and profoundly placed in traditions, we also have to be extremely open and positive about change. We can't resist change. And the biggest change that has come in research and technology and teaching, learning, evaluation is that of information technology, is that of digitization, and is that of machine-based learning. We may like it, we may not like it, we may have experienced it in our past, we may not have experienced it in our past, but this is a change that has come, and this is a change that is here to stay. Now, look at this picture of the classroom in the Monash University. It is nowhere close to the traditional classroom. This is a classroom which has a television screen in every direction. This is a classroom which has cluster seating where the learners sit around a table and they make learning a social and a socially enjoyable experience as compared to learning being an individual, isolated, and boring experience, as compared to a classroom where students are sitting one behind another and looking at the backside of their peers instead of looking at their faces. What happens is that learning becomes monotonous. That learning is simply a two-way process between one teacher and one student. Whereas if a classroom has 25 students, then it has the potential of leveraging the impact of learning to 25 into 25 times. Because if we make learning social, as you can see in this very innovative classroom that is in the Monash Business School of the Monash University, where our second LEAP project was run, then you will see it is nowhere close to any of this traditional classroom. Participants have the opportunity, learners have the opportunity to sit around a table, learn from each other, take the impact of learning much higher, leverage it to a much greater extent. Profound, immense use of technology. Today, you are learning on Google Meet, you are learning on Google Classroom, you are learning about assessments and evaluations and everything with the help of technology. And I must congratulate you. I must felicitate you. Even if you are doing it only because of the coronavirus pandemic, you are doing it. You have embraced change. You have decided to rise to the occasion, to take on the new, the innovative, and to take your teaching, learning, and evaluation forward. And that is the spirit. Next is green learning spaces and campus sustainability. We know we have a responsibility towards environment. Personal individual behaviors are extremely important when it comes to combating global warming, combating climate change, the ill effects of development seen in air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, soil pollution, land pollution, electromagnetic pollution, radioactive pollution, all of which have serious health hazards. We all know malignancy is rising. When we see the ill effects of development in biodiversity depletion, when we see lots and lots of species of flora and fauna are either becoming extinct or becoming endangered or becoming threatened, we know something went wrong with the way we used the Earth's natural resources. Now, universities with 1,000 acres of land, colleges with at least 100 acres of land have some responsibility towards land, towards water, towards air, towards natural resources. And add to this the immense amount of human resource that are there in a higher education institution. That too, human resource in the form of students happens to be at a very, very young age. Then we have a big role to play in environment safeguard as well as environment ethics. Imparting the correct values is one of the most important aims of education. By education, we don't need to churn out degree holders who get employed in factories and companies and banks and hospitals. By education, we mean to give back to the society individuals who are responsible, individuals who have values, individuals who do the right thing. And this is the finest place to teach students about the ethics of environment conservation. So as you can see in the pictures, the students, this one of a male student on a hammock in the Ohio State University is making use of green learning space. As you know, when there is more oxygen, when there is more fresh air, and when there is more natural light, ventilation, then the power of recall, retention, analyze, and the overall cognition skills, the overall cognitive effects, they are higher. So right in the middle of the campus, this fortunate student has the opportunity to snuggle in his hammock beneath a tree, enjoy sunlight, enjoy greenery, enjoy fresh air, and read and learn. That's the impact of green learning spaces. You can see proper waste disposal, waste management in the campus. These are segregated bins for waste disposal. You can see in the Monash University, the students are participating in rowing, boating as part of their sports activities. They go to the river in Melbourne and they engage in boating. Of course, if you are using a river for something like this, you will also maintain that river, save it from pollution. And you can see a reusable canvas bag being promoted instead of polythene. Now, there is no limit to what all can be done in order to protect the environment and in order to bring in campus sustainability. We can use solar, we can use solar power, we can use various techniques of wastewater management. We can use various techniques of recycling and upcycling and reusing and reducing. And we can be agents of change towards sustainable development. So the universities the world over are taking more and more steps towards campus sustainability. There are many sub-themes under campus sustainability that can be taken up. And let me tell you that most and all of the top 100, top 200, or even in India, if you look at the top 10, top 20 good universities, they are taking steps towards campus sustainability. It's our commitment, it's our responsibility, and as scientifically informed teaching community, it is all the more on imperative that we do this. And finally, business plan for financial management and stability. As I said, it is by no means all that we need, but it is certainly extremely important to have good funds and to be able to have smooth functioning of the institution. We need funds for scientific research. We need funds for facilitating various procedures. We need funds for good faculty, and we need funds for good infrastructure management. None of this is possible without some good funding. When we have good funding, we have good research. When we have good research, high number of citations, the overall H index of the institution goes higher, and we are able to knock on the doors of the top ranking universities, which is our overall aim. Here I would like to give you an example of an American retired professor who became the pro-vice chancellor of the King Abdulaziz University in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. As you know, the King Abdulaziz University is not a very old university. It was established after the Renaissance in the Arabian Peninsula. This university was not able to enter the top 100 or the top 200 universities of the world. This gentleman who became the pro-vice chancellor in this university took the credit of letting it figure in the top 100 universities of the world in one particular year. And when everyone was taken aback, asked him what he did, he told his secret. He said, I spoke to the faculty, I spoke to the researchers, and I saw that they have good infrastructure, they have good salaries, they have students and researchers. What they lack is research grant. And in order to meet the requirement of a research grant, they spend most of their timing in writing research proposals. They should be spending this time in writing research papers. Because ultimately, when there are more research papers of the faculty in quality journals, then the H index of the institution goes higher, and then the institution automatically figures in the top ranking universities of the world. So what he did was that he took charge of certain endowments, alumni endowments, and that happens to be a country run by monarchy, so endowments from the rulers, and he created a research fund. He created a separate research fund, and he commissioned this grant to the faculty and gave them the goal of publishing a certain amount of research papers every year by utilizing this grant. And the faculty did it. And they did it in the same time that they had been using for writing research proposals. So these are the small, innovative, and I must say, very ingenious measures that can be taken by the top academic leadership towards enhancing quality. We as faculty members have to have a business plan in the back of our heads all the time. We are simply not there in the college or in the department or in the university to teach some classes and take away our salaries. If we want to contribute to our college becoming a NAC accredited A-grade college, if we want to contribute to our university becoming a top ranking NIRF university of the country, we have to make quality publications, we have to have good research grants, and if we are not in teaching or research, if we are in some extension and outreach activity, then we have to have our eyes focused on some funds from somewhere. That keeps us alive, that keeps us kicking, and that keeps us motivated. And because of that, we have respect in the academic community. We have promotions in the academic ladder, because end of the day, it's not a ladder, a career growth ladder. It's a jungle gym. You do different things, you get better funds for any projects that you have, for any development, that activity that is there in the back of your mind, and you get promoted on the jungle gym. It's not just a career ladder. So what used to happen, as you can see in the picture behind, that at the Monash University, in the entire week that we learned there, we learned about several of their processes. We learned about their admissions and their research and their they have some very high-tech, state-of-the-art laboratories. They have computer simulation techniques. So we were exposed to all that. Every evening during the course, we were made to sit down and make a business plan for our growth, for the growth of our institution. And for this, there was also an activity called Friends and Fieldwork. So what happened was that over lunch, some faculty members of the university were invited to have lunch with us. Then we were given badges to wear, and they were also given badges to wear. And then we were supposed to strike a contact or an interview with one of those faculty members, and then go and visit their departments, their laboratories, their facilities, and come up with a collaborative research project with a clear idea of where the funding is going to come from. There are enough research grants. What we need to do is we need to explore them. We need to make a timeline, and we need to see how and from where the fund is coming and how we are going to utilize it. It is very important. Every top ranking university of the world does this, and we need to do this, whether we are in a public funded university or we are in a private funded university. A business plan for the institution and for the individual is extremely important. And finally, the overall goals of higher education, the bedrocks, the fundamentals: diversity, equity, and inclusivity. If you are a college with 95% men in your teaching faculty and only 5% women in your teaching faculty, you are way below the quality parameter mark. If you are a college in the West, say if you are a university in the United States, and all your faculty, be it men or women, are white, blonde, and of European origin, there are no men and women of color. There are no Indians, I mean to say the natives, who used to be called as Red Indians earlier. There are no browns, Asians like us, and there are no people of the African origin. You are a university way behind the quality parameter. What I am showing you here in these pictures is a lecture being delivered by a female faculty member in the Ohio State University, who is not just a female faculty member, she is one of the vice presidents of the university. I'm sure she must be paid a $1 million salary. She must be working very hard, but she has opened doors to a world-class university. What she is showing on this blackboard is that in their university, the minorities constitute 21% of the total students. 12.5% are colleges. I'm giving you the example of the AMU. We are a large university. We have 18,000 students in higher education, and we have another 13,000 students in the school. But how many of them are not from India? How many of them are from foreign countries? Just 900 to 1,000. Now, this is a very low mark for international students. What I have shown you again in a picture here is the Friday prayer in the Monash University. You know, the Monash University in Australia, Melbourne, has a minority population of Muslim students, researchers, and faculty members. They care about them, so they have given them the facility of performing the Friday prayer on the campus. And what they do is that an indoor basketball court is converted into a Friday prayer ground for 1 hour every Friday. It is closed for any basketball game, and the Muslim students and faculty members and staff members from all countries of the world. I met a lot of Jordanians and Bangladeshis and Indians and Pakistanis and quite a few from the Arabian countries, all coming together, performing their Friday prayers and going back to work so that they don't have to take leave, so that they don't have to go helter-skelter wanting to pray. So this is something that this university has done in order to maintain diversity on the campus and in order to proclaim the importance of diversity. Before I end with you here, is that I am going to play a video that was made at the Ohio State University when we were there, and our program was encased, it was showcased in that video. The president of the university, he spoke to us, which is something great because the president is a very, very busy person. It was very difficult to have him on board, hence a recorded message from him was played in this. And I was very happy to see that he was an African American. He was an African American. And you must have seen some pictures of my presentation where African American women were engaged to take our classes. Our coordinators there were Bangladeshis and Indians. If you will see this video, you will know how important it is to have diversity on the campus, to be an inclusive institution, and to ensure equity. Together with these, and I'm not by any way implying that this happens to be an exhaustive list of all the quality parameters, there may be many more. I am looking forward to hear from you quite a lot in your feedback forms when I get them to analyze. If there are any more quality parameters that you think, do let us know. But for now, whatever quality parameters that we have been discussing in this lecture today, on the basis of my first-hand experience in these two universities, the Ohio State University, a top 100 ranking university of the world, and the Monash University, another top 100 ranking university of the world. I hope we are able to take the Indian universities and the Indian colleges forward and towards becoming a world-class university. Thank you so much. Happy learning.
I'm Professor Anil Pradhan from the Department of Astronomy and Chemical Physics and Biophysics at Ohio State University College of Arts and Sciences. We are very happy to host a Leadership for Academicians program sponsored by the Government of India, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, in partnership with Aligarh Muslim University. So we are the foreign partners that they have chosen. So the aim of this workshop is to inculcate leadership skills in participants who are already very senior academicians in India. They are full professors, heads of departments, and on their way to leadership positions in academia all over India from many Indian institutions. And so the point is that we have selected 14 themes, 14 leadership themes, ranging from administrative skills, from international aspects and perspectives, interdisciplinary research, business skills, as well as political and nationalistic themes as well. Along the way, we have teaching and learning skills as themes, stress management, digital education, and a variety of other things that academic leaders should in fact have a broad knowledge of as they move from their own disciplinary excellence into areas that in fact govern not only students, of course ultimately the students, but also they should govern the institutional institutions vis-a-vis the national governments as well as the international collaborations. So we are very happy to host this group of 26 illustrious academicians from India and from I think approximately 10 universities, central universities in India. And from now on, our next, we are project coordinators. I'm Professor Anil Pradhan, co-project coordinator, Ohio State, is Professor Sultana Nahar from the Department of Astronomy. Our partners from Aligarh Muslim University are Professor Abdur Rahman Kidwai and Professor Faiza Abbasi. So you'll hear from them, and I'll pass the microphone on to Professor Sultana Nahar, who will also issue a welcome to our colleagues from AMU.
Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, and good afternoon. So greetings from the Ohio State University LEAP, which Professor Anil Pradhan mentioned. LEAP is for Leadership for Academicians Program. So LEAP 2019. Okay. So we're holding this workshop at Ohio State University, and as Anil mentioned, we have 26 professors from 9 central universities. I'll name them: Aligarh Muslim University, Anna University, Anna Malai University, Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Bharati Banaras Hindu University, Bharati Dasan University, Jamia Millia Islamia, Sri Guru Govind Singh Ji Institute of Engineering and Technology, and University of Allahabad. So all these members, they arrived here on Sunday, and we are holding our sessions from Monday, and we had the first greetings by our president, Professor and Dr. Michael Drake, and the session started. We have all the experts from the Ohio State University are coming to give lectures, and there is a treasure of knowledge that they're giving, and all the participants are finding they're very useful. And I know our coordinators are here from Aligarh side. The main coordinator is Professor Kidwai, and the other coordinator is Professor Faiza Abbasi. Actually, I'm going to just ask them whether Professor Kidwai would like to say. Abbasi, please come here.
Thank you very much, Professor Sultana. Let me, at the very outset, thank profusely the warm hospitality and generosity extended by Ohio State University in having made all the arrangements for this brilliant training program and for making other logistic arrangements for such a large group as 26 senior professors from various parts of the India. And the overall idea is to sensitize the senior academicians to the American higher education system. So apart from the hard information and the topics covered, the best part of this training is this comparative learning or absorption and assimilation of American culture, values, their education system. Most of the sessions, they have been really nothing short of a revelation, because we come to gain such insights into the American higher education system, their functioning, their working, their mechanism, their delivery system. So everything is of immense benefit, and these are the things which you cannot gain or which you cannot learn through books or internet. It is just the interaction which helps you gain these insights. So it is a highly rewarding and fruitful experience for all the trainees. Once again, I would extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of HRD Ministry, Government of India, and the Aligarh Muslim University to our very esteemed colleagues, Professor Anil Pradhan and Professor Sultana Nahar. They really took pains to organize this wonderful program, and I'm sure my colleague, Dr. Faiza Abbasi, who is the co-coordinator of this project, she will complement and supplement my observations. Dr. Faiza, please.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Kidwai, and thank you, Professor Sultana and Professor Anil Pradhan. I must say that being a part of this delegation who's here at the Ohio State University for this 1 week to learn about academic leadership, it's certainly a great piece of honor for me. And I can say this on behalf of most of the 26 participants who are here for this 1 week to learn from the Ohio experience, that it has been like an eye-opening for every one of us. This training was preceded by another 15 days training back at the Aligarh Muslim University with similar components: financial management, leadership, communication, team building, research excellence, and various other components of assessments too. But certainly, this 1 week here at the Ohio State University, learning at the hands of very, very eminent resource persons that have been, I'm sure, very painstakingly arranged by Professor Anil Pradhan and Professor Sultana Nahar to engage the sessions here, is certainly very productive. I am sure, just like the name suggests, LEAP, for every one of us, the careers will be growing by leaps and bounds after this experience here at OSU. OSU has a lot to tell us. We have been around the campus, we've been to the downtown, we are seeing the infrastructure, the facilities, the work culture here, and I'm sure the basic mandate of this program, LEAP, as envisaged by the Human Resource Development Ministry, is to enable Indian universities to enter into that very, very prestigious league of world-class universities. So I'm sure spending time here in a very, very hands-on manner at the OSU will give us academicians who are all participants in this training program, who can certainly get back, as Professor Nahar told you, we are representing 9 universities, mostly central universities of India. So they can all take back from this OSU experience and help their universities become world-class universities. And that happens to be a dream of the Education Ministry back in India and a dream of our government, and we are very committed to that. And once again, we are very grateful that we were addressed by the President, we were addressed by the Provost, and they all found time for us, and they have all been very kind to us. And I think this will, as Professor Anil also once said, this is not the end, this is the beginning of a long-term collaboration. And we are very grateful we had this opportunity. Thank you so much.
I'm pleased to welcome you to Ohio State this week. We are honored to partner with LEAP and Aligarh Muslim University to host your week-long workshop. Leadership in academia is multifaceted. It requires not only academic excellence in your specific field, but also a wider understanding of the issues and responsibilities facing students, faculty, staff, and society at large. This week, you'll hear from experts across the university and examine aspects of academic leadership ranging from interdisciplinary research, public and government policy, diversity and inclusion, teaching and learning, and national and international outreach. Leadership starts with knowing your values, knowing what matters to you and why. At the same time, you must be willing to open your eyes, ears, and imagination to new ideas and new perspectives. Different points of view can be challenging, but they also have the power to enrich our understanding of ourselves and the broader world around us. On behalf of the university, we hope that this workshop will lead to meaningful collaborations between Ohio State and your home academic institutions. Best wishes for a successful workshop, and welcome to Ohio State.
Okay, participants, this was indeed a very enlightening lecture. I think most of you who are still are still in the meeting room. This shows that you were till the end when the video was being played. So I thank you once again, all the participants, for in this academic leadership lecture of Dr. Faiza Abbasi ma'am, especially on the quality parameters that she highlighted. So I guess now you will be engaged, I think, in the another session, which is in a short while. So with this, I'll be ending the meeting. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.